Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Facebook Profit Formula Masterclass. So, how many of you are getting clients from the time that you spend on Facebook? Is your time strategic and organized and concentrated to help you get clients? Ava is, of course. We're here a little bit to celebrate her today. Or are you kind of just randomly posting and praying and not really sure what you're doing and how to use the platform or how to write your posts in order to get engagement? Or let me know. There's absolutely no shame wherever we're at because we all started at the beginning. And one thing I know for sure in 2025, Facebook marketing is different. I started my business back in 2010. So as you can imagine, I have seen a ton of changes on Facebook. I've been teaching people how to use Facebook to get clients since 2010. And there's been no bigger change than in the last 3 or 4 years. If you are not getting the number of clients that you want right now, do not feel bad about that. That's okay. There has been some massive shifts happening right now. And anybody else feel like maybe AI is taking over the world and going, holy crap, I can't keep up. I don't want to learn AI. I don't know AI. So we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about AI today. It's just a tool though. And there's already things happening, but listen, what's needed more today than ever before on Facebook is connection. And you know what AI isn't? Human. It cannot replace connection. So let's not even worry about it, okay? YouTube announced last week it's not going to pay AI faceless videos anymore. They're going to only pay real people. Facebook today came out and said that they're starting to crack down on AI fake accounts and all the rest of it. So this happens over and over. A new thing comes out. It's a trend. Everybody jumps on it. It feels like the whole world is jumping on it. And if you aren't on it, you're getting left behind. And then eventually, rules and regulations come in and good marketing practices always return. Okay. So what's never going to be replaced is human connection. And that's what we're focusing on today. So Facebook can be a super complicated place, and there could be a million things that you could be doing on Facebook if you wanted to, right? We've got Facebook profiles, also sometimes called personal pages, professional profiles. We've got business pages. We've got Facebook groups. We've got Facebook ads. We've got stories. We've got reels. We've got posts. I mean, that alone sounds confusing to me. And what's so important is to understand that Facebook is set up in a very specific way. And there's so much you can do without having to invest in ads. So we aren't touching on the ad piece here today at all. We're going to focus on getting clients. Now, we're not going to talk a whole lot about growing your Facebook group or using your Facebook group in this context. We're going to talk about your profile. We're going to talk about your business page, because those are the two areas where you can grow your audience and connect with people and create content that moves people. And one of the main reasons why we're focusing on this is most of Ava's 5 sales came from her business page without ads in 2 weeks. And yet I bet you run around and you hear people saying Facebook business pages are dead. Don't even bother posting on them, right? I've heard that for 16 years. People have said that since the day I started my business. And yet Ava went in there with a very dialed in content strategy and she got 5 pay and full clients. I don't think all of them came from that space, but most of them did for sure. So what's important though is that you have a strategy and understand how to use the different spaces, okay? Your personal profile is not intended for a place for you to do business directly on. It is intended to be a place where you connect and build relationships and connections with people. So Facebook doesn't want you to do business directly on your personal profile, even if it's called a professional profile. Even if you've upgraded to a professional profile, Facebook does not want you to be doing business directly on it. By directly, dropping links, putting links in your posts. Facebook knows that you've put a link in your post, and if you do that on your personal profile, you're breaking Facebook's rules and you could get shut down for it. I do know people who have lost their personal profiles because they put a URL or a link in a post. So we don't want to do that. But that doesn't mean we don't use it. I'll be honest, that was a mistake I made early on in my business. We can't use it for business, so I'm not using it except for personal stuff and personal content. But I didn't get any clients from my profile then, right? And if I'm going to be on Facebook, I'm going to leverage the entire platform, not just parts of it. Then your Facebook business page is really where Facebook wants you to be building and promoting your business, and not going to, mislead you in any way here. Facebook still would prefer if you didn't put links in posts on your business pages. Totally fine. There's ways around that. And of course, you need a business page if you ever want to run ads down the road. We really want to focus on dialing in those two spaces, and that's what we're really going to talk about. There's three main areas on those two spaces that you really want to look at, and I'm going to challenge you guys over the next 24 hours to go and look at those spaces. Okay, so these are areas that you want to have optimized so that you are attracting your best prospects to you, and that they look at it and they know exactly what it is you do, who you are, what you do, who you serve. There's three main areas on your business page and your profile that you want to have really dialed in and optimized. The first one is your cover image. Now, this is that big banner image at the top. So many of you on your personal profile, I see pictures that don't fit in that space, that are, maybe a picture of a lake, that don't represent you in any way, that don't connect with your audience other than, oh, you look like a nice person, or you like going to the lake. That's not going to get you clients. So your cover image should be a very specific image. Now, it doesn't have to be a business. You don't have to run out and get business headshots done. It doesn't have to be, of your office space. It doesn't have to look very corporate, but you want it to represent what you do. Now, a perfect example is Ava could have a picture from one of her teacher training camps or one of her kids' camps that she does, because she's showing the result of her work, right? If she had a picture of a bunch of kids around a fire pit with their dowsing rods or with some other tool that she teaches them how to use, people would see that. She, of course, wants to put words on that cover image so that people look at the image and don't just go, oh, well, those are her grandkids. Isn't that cute? Right? We want words to tie that story to the message, but we want to very clearly say, helping you impact children's lives or helping you make sense of your bookkeeping. Say what you do. That's not promotion. So your cover image, most of you probably need to go and change. And most of you don't change it often enough. We want to be changing it fairly regularly, maybe even weekly. But the more often we do it, the more visibility we will get, because Facebook sees your cover image as your storefront sign, if you will. And if you changed your storefront sign, people would notice. So if you change your cover image, Facebook will let more people know that you changed your cover image. So really go and look at your presence and ask yourself, is this actually sharing with people what I do? Or is it just a bad picture that doesn't really fit in that space? And we want to make sure that we are showing up and representing ourselves in an elevated way. So the cover image is the first spot we want to optimize. Then there is the bio. Now it's called the about on your business page and the bio on your personal profile. Same thing. This is where a lot of people use this space to tell people what they do. Where you say something like, I help women entrepreneurs hit 10K months, for example, or I help children get in touch with their spirit. This is not about talking about you. This is about enticing them to move into action. Now, in this space, it's okay if you put a link in there. So I want you to use your bio to invite people into action, to offer your freebie or your lead magnet, to speak to the result that you help people have. This is not like your elevator pitch. This is not like the handshake hello that we do at networking events. This is where we get to share a result and then give people a direction of something else that we want to do. And then the third spot that we're going to optimize on our profile and our business page is our pinned post. Now, most people didn't even know that they could do a pinned post on their profile, but you can now if you have a professional profile. Your pinned post, again, is not about you telling the world what you do. We want to entice people and we want to speak to the transformation that we help people have. We want to speak about the outcomes that we help people have. Now, I know Ray she has a pet directory and she promotes businesses that sell products for pets. So her business is a little different. She's not like me, she's not service-based, but she can still write a post. If she's focused on getting new people to list their businesses in the directory, then her post should be written to entice those people as to why they would want to sign up in her directory. What's in it for them? Not sign up for my directory and you get this size of a spot for this much money, but what will they get? Visibility, traffic, awareness, whatever she provides in that service. If she's focused on driving people to the directory page so that there's more shoppers looking at all the stores, then her post would be written differently there as well. And this is not something that we write once and we pin and we leave forever. We're going to change it up. Ava, for example, has, done her program for teacher training, but now she's moving into another program. I would change the pinned post to reflect what's the promotion coming up in the future. Okay, and that can stay for a period of time. It doesn't need to be changed regularly, but change it to be in alignment with your offers and speaking in a way that entices action from people and also gets interaction from people. So we've talked about the main parts of optimizing your profile and your business page. And the purpose is so that people, when they see it, know who you are, know what you do, and know how you can help them. They're probably thinking, how can you help them first? They're not thinking, first off, they might be looking to see if you're a prospect for them. That doesn't matter. There's a lot of that going on Facebook. That's okay. If you aren't showing up with that clarity, then we need to change that so that people know why they should be connected with you. And then once we've got that dialed in, now I don't lie to you ever, but I'm not going to fib to you here and tell you you're going to do this once and get it perfectly right. Okay. The only way we actually get really good at what we're doing is by doing it badly first. Nobody was perfect at what they were doing the first time they did it. Okay. Michael Phelps didn't win all those gold medals the first time he hopped in the pool. Right. So how many hours do you think he practiced to get to gold medal level? How many times do you think he tried and failed? How many times did he get a silver instead of a gold? Right? None of us do this perfectly the first time we do this. So we have to be willing and able to do it badly first and to be willing to learn from that. Now that's the key, right? If we do it badly and then we look at it and we go, oh, well, I just can't get this right. I'm too old. I don't understand. I'm too this, I'm too that. Whatever the stories are that are going on in our head, if we allow that to happen and we believe that, then we take ourselves out of the game. What we get to do is look at it and go, okay, well, I made my first attempt. You know what? That's more than 95% of the people your competitors have done. What can I learn from it? Right? It's all just feedback. How can I get better at this? What could I do differently? And then we get to go into our content. Now, this is where Ava really, really shone recently when she unexpectedly had to cancel an in-person event that she's done annually. And this year, for all our efforts, all of our trying, all the things that we put together, all the things that we did, it just wasn't gelling. She had a few registrations. She was really excited about it because she knew that this event was powerful. But she didn't have enough registrations to hold the event space and have it be something that, didn't put her into debt. So a hard decision had to be made. And that's when we said, well, okay, she said, I've always wanted to do this online. So how about we just do a beta version? And we said, let's go. And we ran with it. And this is where we got to look at her content because she was saying, well, how am I going to get these people in? Should I run ads? Do I do a masterclass? Da, da, da. But we wanted to find a system that was more peaceful for her after having worked so long and hard to fill this in-person event. We wanted something that was going to be easier for her. So we said, let's just, you know what, with the people on your business page, the groups that you can post in your profile, let's just activate those people. So she went off and did a week of content, and we came back together and looked at it and went, okay, now we've got feedback. Now we know what's working, what's not working. And we really dove into her content strategy. And that's when things really started gelling, when she started really thinking about writing her content for the reader, not for herself, right? Not telling them it starts on this date and it's this many weeks and it's this long and you can click here to go get a seat. When she changed out of that perspective, which, I mean, no shame to anybody, we've all done it. We've all done it. And if you're still writing content like that, that's okay. It's not, you've got an opportunity here to do it differently. Okay. So there's 4 main types of content that we focus on in this strategy. Now, I'm not saying that this is the only pieces of content. I am saying that this is the 4 structured strategic pieces we use for leads and sales. That doesn't mean that you can't still do a picture of yourself walking the dog, or if you follow me at all, my new slushy machine that has been my superstar all week on my personal profile. I've been showing pictures of my slushy machine and of the slushes that I've been making. Guess what that builds? Personal connection. Guess what's really easy on Facebook is that personal connection. A whole bunch of people that never interacted with me before saw my posts about my slushy machine. And then they went, oh, I wonder who this person is with the slushy machine. Then maybe they went and looked at my profile. Guess what they saw then? My cover image is really aligned, right? My bio is really aligned. And I've had people sign up for my freebie from it this week. Not because I posted about my freebie, but because I got eyes on my content, right? And then they read my pinned post or they looked through some of my copy. So I'm not saying don't be doing personal things. In fact, personal things are more important than ever. But what so many people say to me is, I get so much engagement on my personal things and I get so little engagement on my business things. And that's probably, there's a couple of reasons for that. It might be how you're structuring your business posts. It might be how you're asking people to interact in the call to action. But you might also be expecting that you will see the exact same kind of engagement on business posts as you would on engagement posts. And that's not going to be the case. Most of your buyers are not going to be likers and commenters. Okay. And if your post is structured properly, they're going to take the next step, whether that's to message you or to comment, in order to get the link that gives them the result that they want. The 4 kinds of content I want you to be focusing on Facebook is, first, that authority building piece. This is where we speak about the result that we help people have. And Ava did such an amazing job of this in highlighting success stories. Now, what did those success stories look like? We talked a little bit about those because we have to find out what is the success that they're looking for, not what we think they're looking for. So when she started talking about the impact this training has on the kids, then the teachers started raising their hands and saying, I want to have that kind of impact, right? If she had talked about what the teachers had to do to have the impact, they'd go, no, thank you. And that happened. But once she started talking and showing how this work changed her kids' lives, the kids' lives in her programs and in her teachers' programs, the teachers started saying, I want that. Now that's the authority piece, right? That's where it's not about saying, you know, I've been an accountant for 20 years. I've been teaching this for 15 years. I've been working on this in 12 years, and I've got a website, and, you know, I've got a program with 39 modules that are an hour long. That's not authority. Authority is, what's the impact that the work we are trying to get them to do will have in their lives. Then we're going to lighten it up and post some of that engaging content, like my slushy machine. That's engaging. Everybody wanted to talk to me about my margaritas and about my slushy machine. Man, oh man, it got a whole lot of eyes on my profile. It has nothing to do with Facebook marketing, nothing to do with lead generation, nothing to do with getting clients, nothing to do with Facebook ads. But it still got attention, it got interaction, it got people aware of me, it got me new followers, it got me a ton of new friend requests, and it got new people signing up to my freebie. But are they commenting on my posts about this masterclass? Some signed up for this. Sure. So we have to really believe the result is happening before we see the result. And what I see people try to do with engagement content is they try to tie it into their business. They try to tie it into what they do. They try to get people to open up and bare their souls too soon. What are you working on? What are you struggling on? What are you trying to accomplish? Most people are not going to bare their souls to you as a comment on a post on Facebook in 2025. So being mindful that most people are not going to bare their souls and open up their hearts to you and give you information about what they're struggling with, that's not an engaging piece of content. That's market research for you. And I would say in your Facebook group, that's probably the place where you want to ask that question. But on your profile and your business page, you don't really want to be asking people to start baring their souls because they don't feel safe. They don't feel comfortable. So your engaging content is about getting eyes on your content, but it also feeds Facebook. Facebook is fed by two things: engagement or money, ad spend. The more engagement you get, the more visibility you will get for future posts. So if you don't want to spend money on ads, then you want to focus on getting engagement, because Facebook wants you to help them keep people on Facebook, because then they actually make more money from ads. So after our engaging content, we want to focus on content for lead generation, meaning getting people to sign up for our freebies, for our lead magnets. And we want to really make sure that we are focusing on that so that people can get into our email list, because any social media platform is rented land. We do not own anything we build on any social media platform. And you hear about it all the time. People with thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of followers losing their accounts overnight. The way to prevent against that being a crisis is by growing an email list, because you own that. I have a friend that this happened to recently, 30 days ago. She lost her personal profile, didn't miss a beat. Her email list is huge. She kept growing emails. She's tried to get it back. She's not getting it back. She's actually just taken over her husband's account profile and she's using it. Didn't miss a beat. Kept going. Kept making sales, because she's growing the asset of her email list. So lead generation is super important. And then there are those sales posts. We do want to be very clear about what we offer and what we do and how we can help people and what the outcome is. But they have to be structured in a very specific way and placed in a very specific place to the rest of the content. This is how we get visibility. This is how we get connection with people. This is how we get into conversation with people. This is how we drive people to our website or into the DMs. Now, Ava, I'm going to ask you to unmute, and this is when you and I are going to chat for just a moment, because this is where you really excelled, and I would love for you to just share a little bit with everybody. Please introduce yourself, tell people what you do, and tell people what was the biggest, I mean, obviously, aside from 5 sales in 2 weeks for a program that you had never done before in online, you'd done it obviously in person, but what was the biggest impact that you had through this process?
My biggest takeaway is the formula for getting engagement, because I always used to just post information and it never got engaged. There was never communication and back and forth. And the formula that we worked out or that you gave me that I followed and the script that I followed just put me on the path to success. It was easy. It was fun every day to check my notifications and see how
Ooh.
many people
Mhm.
were commenting, were messaging me, and so for me, the biggest takeaway was how easy it can be once you have dialed in and you've mastered the way that engagement works for me and my business. That was priceless.
And on your business page, which is a place, like I said, where most people say don't even post because
Mm-hmm.
nothing happens, but you had so much engagement, so much interaction on your business page. And so that engagement strategy, that's so powerful to use that because, and I love how you said it was fun because so
Yeah.
many people say it's so much hard work creating content, but most people have tons and tons of content. They just don't understand how to structure it. And we had that first week where you went off and did what you usually do. And then we looked at it, we analyzed it, and then all these light bulbs started going off and things started changing for you, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. What would you say is the biggest difference? I mean, I know the four-step system, but what do you think has changed the most in your content that got people to engage with you?
The stories about the impact that my program has on the lives of children who go through the program. Oh, I didn't even say I do metaphysicals. I created a metaphysical summer camp for children 10 years ago. And then 6 years ago, I created a certification program to teach other adults how to teach this to children in their communities. So I've had a teacher training program, but it's mostly been either in person or me teaching it live online. And when I had to cancel the retreat, I have tons of videos of me teaching this program live online. And I just thought, you know what, let's create an evergreen program that can run online, twice a year. And it's just going to sit there. People can buy into it. It's a 42-hour program. I don't have to be available for 42 hours every time I run this program if we do it as an evergreen program.
Right.
So one of the marketing things that we dialed into was that it's a self-paced course because people who have seen it before, because it's been around for a while, knew that it was live on Zoom with me face to face for 42 hours. So that was one of the things. But the other thing is sharing the stories of the impact this has on the lives of the children. That was marketing gold for me. That is the formula that people would read and go, oh my God, I want to be able to have that kind of an impact in the lives of the kids in my community. And I used Sherri-Lee's formula. The recipe she gave me worked beautifully to get engagement. And then at the beginning, I was oversharing. I was like trying too hard. And she told me to dial it back and then follow her script, which was not as much talking on my part and just engaging with them. And then it just turned into like a huge success in 2 weeks.
Excellent. Yeah, it's been so amazing to watch this take off for you. And what I love is you now have this evergreen program you can sell any day of the week. And even knows how to do it from her content, which means she doesn't have to have any big launches. She doesn't have to hold master
Mhm.
classes. She doesn't have to run ads to fill master classes. She doesn't have to do any of that stuff if she doesn't want to. She can sell this and one person can buy it and have a pop of cash just like that any day of the week. And to me, that is the freedom of entrepreneurship. That is when we start getting into that space of this is why I started my business not so that I'm sitting at my computer for 6 hours a day trying to create content that nobody seems to care about. It's about the impact, right? And those stories about those children that are having these amazing connections during this camp. Exactly, like the people in the communities were saying, I work with kids. I want to have this kind of impact for them in life. And this is what really attracted so many people. But you
Mhm.
also now are not tied to people having to fly in, book a retreat center. I mean, you can still do that if you want, but it's not you're not carrying the burden of everything you want to build in your business from that. People don't have to book a whole, week off with flights and pay for hotels, and you don't have to book retreats, and it's not as massive of an investment, of course, for them. So that means you can
Mhm.
have more people help more kids, which is what you're all about. I love
And
that.
and I'd like to share one more thing that was really helpful because you shared with me as one of your private clients this document to use, this spreadsheet that I utilized religiously every morning. I was filling it out. I was making sure that I was following up with leads. It's a tracking spreadsheet that she created and shared it with me that just kept it so easy for me to keep track of who I was communicating with, what their private Facebook um, link is, when I messaged them, what I messaged them, what was the result. Like it was a whole spreadsheet for every single person that I was communicating with. And I could just open up the document every morning and go, oh, I haven't heard from this person for a couple of days. I think I'm just going to follow back, circle back and check in with them. So all of the steps that I was given as this came together so quickly, all of the steps Sherri-Lee gave me were important pieces that contributed to the success of the entire thing.
It's so great to hear. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that. I know you have a client coming over soon,
Yes, I do.
so I appreciate you being here, and thank you for
Nice meeting you,
letting me
everybody.
share your story so well. And I'm so happy for your success. So the tracker that she mentioned is the leads and client tracker, which you get as part of the your membership into the six-figure success mentorship, which I would just like to take a moment and invite you to right now. This tracker allows you to know exactly what content people are responding to, who they are, and to keep track of where you are with them in the conversation and how to connect with them. I don't know about you, but Messenger can get really messy. It can get really hard to go and scroll back to your post from a week ago and figure out who you've connected with and who you haven't connected with. This tracker takes that out of the worry, and it's all there in one place. And like Ava, I have mine open all the time. I use it every single day because it makes it so much easier to follow up. And following up is the key. First off, following up shows people you care about them. Following up shows people that you are invested in their results. And a lot of people say, it's pushy. It's all in how you do it. It doesn't have to be pushy. You get a full library of pre-recorded trainings on how to use your Facebook business page, how to use your profile, how to grow and monetize your Facebook group. You get resources that will help you to build the structure of your business and the foundation of your business so that you aren't always wondering and guessing where's the next client coming from. You get training on email marketing. You get a ton of training, and I'm always adding more training into it. Most importantly, you get weekly group coaching calls with me. Very similar to this. Jeannie just joined recently. We come together every Tuesday morning and you get to ask your questions, and I coach you and help you and give you very clear steps on what to take in the next week to grow your business and to make sales. That's always the goal. And we're always tracking things like leads and sales and celebrating our wins. We've talked about making sure your presence represents who you are. We've also talked about your content. And now we've got to talk about what to do with the engagement of the content. What happens when people see our content and interact with us or leave a comment or send us a private message. Trying to get people to buy off of a post is harder today than it's ever been. There's a number of reasons. First off, you shouldn't be putting your link to something right in your post unless you're running an ad to it, and then that will compensate, and Facebook will be a little bit kinder. So we aren't dropping a bunch of links in our posts anyways, which makes it really hard for people to buy. We do want to put a link in our bio so that people can get into our freebie, though. They aren't buying off of your bio. They're signing up for a freebie. They're getting onto your email list where you can nurture them. One of the things you get as a member of the Six Figure Success Mentorship is a series of done-for-you email templates that you can just edit and automate and set up in your email service provider to take off and go. So you will have an email nurture sequence set up for people as they come into your email list from your bio. We aren't trying to get people to buy from our posts. That's for ads. If we're going to try and sell, run an ad. That's, not a problem. We aren't trying to get people to buy just directly off of our post. We want to give them a direction, have a call to action on every post that gets them to take an action. Why? Because that action feeds Facebook. If the action is to comment, then they're giving Facebook engagement. You're getting rewarded. Facebook is going to help you reach more people because you've gotten engagement. So we want to make sure that we are always trying to get engagement. But if we are trying to sell something that's paid, we may be using the call to action for them to DM you, send you a private message so that you can then talk to them about this paid offer. And it's not happening in the comments of a post because that really doesn't work. We cannot really go back and forth. You'll lose people too quickly. They'll comment. And if you try to go back and forth with them, ask them a question and they're going to respond, you will lose them very quickly because that's not where that happens. We want to get them into your private messages so that we can always be in touch with them. So there's a cadence that we follow when we talk about private messages, okay? Because the purpose of the private messages is not to educate, is not to answer all their questions, not to coach, not to give them information about how to do it. That's not the point of private messages. It is about converting those conversations into clients in our private messages. So we very clearly approach this a very specific way. And Ava and I went through this because after her content started taking off, she messaged me and she said, well, now I've got a bunch of people private messaging me, and I'm not sure what to do with those conversations. And we looked at those conversations, and a lot of what was happening happens to a lot of us. People would message, and she didn't know how to follow up with them. She didn't know what the next thing to say to them was. She didn't want to feel too pushy. She didn't want to, just sell right away. But then you're at risk if you aren't leading the conversation and taking the direction where you want it to go. You're at risk of it turning into just a noodly conversation where you're just like chatting with a friend, and within 48 hours, that person is gone and the sale is gone. So we don't want to let it turn into that, which means we have to show up in our conversations in a way that shows that we are the leader, that we are the solution to their problem. Again, connection is number one. So first step is we're building connection with them. We are starting with a question that is a little bit more probing. See, they will tell you here what their struggle is. They will tell you a little bit about what they want to achieve. And you need to know this because being in the emotion is a requirement for the sale. So absolutely, we want to take the time to start that connection piece with them. We want to find out what they want to achieve. We want to find out where they're at right now. We want to find out what do they think is stopping them from achieving the thing that they want, right? So we need to know that they want to hit 10K months, and then we need to know what they think is the reason why they aren't. That opens the door for us to provide the solution. The solution is whatever your offer is. And so then we get to say, would you like to hear more about it? Because we aren't just being pushy bros, trying to force people into things. We get their permission to tell them about our offer. And they say, yes, please. You tell them about their offer, focusing again on the result, not the number of sessions, not how long they are, on the result. And then they say, can I have the link? How do I sign up? I want that. Just like what Ava went through. Here's the result. Kids who are connected with their inner self, with their metaphysical side, that understand how to use dowsing rods and oils and crystals to, improve their moods or to feel less alone in the world. That's when people started saying, how do I sign up for that? So when I say now you know how to, you're going to know how to use 4 pieces of content in order to get people interested in your offers, and then how to have conversations with the DMs and do it all in an hour a day. That's what we do in the 6-figure success mentorship so that you can start having consistent sales in your business. That's when people say, how do I sign up? So we want to go into those DM conversations with a very specific structure in mind, and we want to guide that conversation. We don't want to let it just go on forever, and we don't want to wait for them to say, tell me how I sign up, tell me what you're offering. We don't necessarily want that. I mean, there is a place where we want to, sit and we want to say, here's the offer, here's what it is, and here's the link, here's how much it costs. And then we want to sit and be quiet and let that go, because what we tend to do is immediately start trying to justify the price or, prove that it's worth it. And as soon as we do that, we kind of lose our authority positioning. So we absolutely want to be able to be silent in the right moments, because we don't want to be in proving mode, but we don't want to let the silence go too long. We don't want to lose control of the conversation. And this is what you learn and get the resources, and you get all of the templates and everything you need, the training and the support and the coaching in the Six-Figure Success Mentorship. And that's the process that Ava used. That got her 5 sales in her program, pay in full, in 2 weeks. And that's the process I want to help you create for yourselves, whether you're creating a program or a service, if you're a private one-on-one coach, or you are selling a group program, or even if you're selling directory spots like Ray is, or if you're selling digital products. All of this works. Thank you for being here, you guys. I really appreciate all of you, appreciate your time. Let me know if you have any questions, and I would love to see you in the Six-Figure Success Mentorship.